Hey there, guys, it's Metro. Happy Pokemon Day. Alright, man, hopefully there's been some big news. Obviously, I recorded this a couple days in advance, but I heard that there's going to be some big news. So let's celebrate that. Either way, we'll talk about that another time. So how I'm going to do this, alright, I haven't really come up with the operative name yet, but I'm going to play through every game, man. Every generation, that is, at least. For Generation 1, I chose Pokemon Yellow, okay. And this is going to be an opportunity for me to reflect on my time with the generation, all right? I think this is going to be a lot of fun for me. Hopefully you guys will agree. So every time I talk about a topic, I would really encourage you guys to do the same in the comments. Just feel free to give your opinions about whatever we're talking about at the time. It would be great to hear, because I really feel like this genre of Pokemon has brought a lot of people together. I had no idea how alive it still was until my good buddy Arno showed me all about it, and I have some fond memories. I think everyone really does. It depends on when you were alive, right? But anyway, so if you don't know, I am 27 coming up in a few weeks, actually. My birthday's March 6th. But as far back as I can remember, Pokemon was one of the biggest influencers in my life, really. When I heard about Pokemon, I think obviously it came out in February. I guess that's when it came out in Japan. I'm not 100% sure, but either way, the hype was real. Everybody was going nuts about it. I think we started hearing about it in like maybe late October. I think I was in 4th grade at the time. I'm not 100% sure. I think 4th grade sounds about right, but the hype was real. It was super real, and my friend at the time, his name was Tony. His father was like, his father was divorced from his mother. So he was like super, I'll buy this kid anything he wants so long as he like recognizes me as his father. You know what I mean? Kind of guy, which, they were great. Like the whole family was good. But the point I'm trying to make here is that he bought him Pokemon like the second it was available, basically. Although I don't know, maybe it was available for a while. I'm really not sure exactly how the U.S. release worked, but either way, I know he had it well before I had it. I did not get it until Christmas time. Actually, I might have got it a little bit after Thanksgiving, but either way, I remember him having it, and at the time we were like, everybody I knew was super hyped about it. We were obviously very young, so we were very impressionable, and yeah, we were just super pumped about this. It was like, we were at recess, we would pretend that we were Pokemon trainers. We had these like Nerf balls, like footballs, and like larger baseballs and weird things like that. So we would go around to they had like this garden in the recess area as well, and every once in a while there'd be like squirrels or birds, and just other kids, other players. I'll never get used to that, but anyway, other individuals at recess, and we'd pretend that we were Pokemon trainers, and we'd try to catch them by throwing the balls at them. I think I hit a squirrel once, and it was like the best feeling in the world. But this is well before we got the game itself. We just knew about it from like the anime and people talking about it. And immediately I knew like I was in love with it, right? Like everybody was going nuts over it, and I was like, this is the biggest thing I've experienced in my life so far. So then when my friend Tony finally got it, it was like, oh my God, we all sat around him. Like there was like 8 of us all crowded around his shoulder watching him play on this little ass screen, this little black and white handheld device that he had, which they were like, no, you can't bring it to school, but he brought it in anyway. And we were like watching him play it at recess. And even like the teacher who was like supposed to, be monitoring the recess, like he was watching it too. He's like, oh, so this is what my kids are always talking about, like he should have taken it off him. But the hype was so real, dude. It was impalatable. Like, oh my God, it was unbelievable. And then we got it, all right? And I remember at the time, like, he was the only one who had it, so his dad was like, don't stop bringing it into school. Like, somebody's going to steal it. Like, he was worried that somebody was going to steal his Nintendo or, all that. So he stopped bringing it in, so then we had to, like, pretend again, But then we all got it as well, and oh my God, did it change our lives. Now, at the time, I had no idea that red and blue, like, I didn't know what red and blue were. So my other friend, Rob, he got both. And I was like, whoa, what the hell? He's got both. I got to get both. I only got red for whatever holiday it was. So I started playing through red, and I was like, this sucks. I want blue instead. And I knew nothing. Like, I didn't know that they were the exact same game, basically, minus a few changes, which was really genius on their part. Obviously, they probably made a lot more money like that, but Yeah, I had no idea that's how it went down. So we went out and bought blue. I think I got it a few weeks after I got red. And yeah, that's kind of where the lore ended there. Like, I played it. I remember loving it. I remember everybody playing it and loving it as well. But it's interesting because I don't really recall when it kind of got a little stale. Like, I don't remember when the hype stopped. I just remember the hype, which is nostalgia, right? That's the definition of nostalgia. You only remember the good times. But I do remember Halloween. I think it was Halloween of the next year is when Pokemon Yellow came out. I think it was like a full year later, right? And by that point, like, the hype was renewed. I bought the game. Other people were like, "Oh my God, did you know Pokemon Yellow is coming out?" And I didn't know much about it at the time. I didn't know, once again, what the differences were. But we were all watching the anime or the show, whatever it was, the cartoon. And I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's get Yellow too. So I got that. And that's when I really started to understand what Pokemon actually was. I guess I probably beat the game. Now it's funny because I still have the cartridges. And I hacked Red, like I used the Game Shark on Red. And Blue I played legitimately. And it's quite funny because, Red's got like all level 99 Pokemon, like a Mewtwo and everything. And then Blue's got like, a level 59, some like medium levels. And it's pretty funny to look back because basically I'm looking into a time portal, like I'm trying to examine as I would play the game entirely differently now. You know what I mean? That's something that you got to consider. Like, they are not the same game now. When you're mentally evolved enough to make like, you've seen me play Pokemon, right? I don't play Pokemon like somebody who was like 12 at the time would, I'm very strategical. I'm very determined and focus-minded. I don't know what the words I'm looking for, but yeah, you know how I play, right? So when I look back at the team I had, it was like, oh, you know what? I would use that team. Like, it was funny. I had a Nidoking. I had a Primeape. I think I had an Alakazam. Like, I had good Pokemon. I wasn't using like a shitty like Weedle or something like that. I knew what I was doing from the get-go, so it's kind of funny to look back in time at that. Like, you're actually traveling through time. It's quite interesting. But then after Yellow was out for a while, I remember playing it a lot. I think like somebody dressed up as Pikachu for Halloween or something like I remember that being part of it. I'm pretty sure it came out around Halloween. But it was at that point that like, yeah, the hype really started to die down. I think a lot of people stopped caring. A lot of kids at that age obviously they kind of like haphazard in their interests. They kind of just go between topics real quick. They don't really have, they don't have a favorite game. They just play whatever's hot at the time. And unfortunately, that translates to adulthood as well for some people. But that's not me. I've always loved one game, As far back as I can remember, I've been playing World of Warcraft for 11 years. That's a long time. It's basically changed my life at this point. And Pokemon was that for me at the time. Like, I didn't care about other games that were coming out. I loved Pokemon. And I'd constantly replay through the game or grind and do all these different things. And I had the strategy guides, and I was watching, the anime constantly. And I don't think YouTube was around, but I vaguely remember watching people play it. I don't know how I would have seen it, but I know we had a computer at the time and everything. So yeah, that's that. But it's funny because now, capping off this topic here, the one thing that I remember the most on that point there is that I remember drawing the Pokemon logo. You know how like the word Pokemon is like very specific. It's got like the double bold like inverted outline for the actual text for Pokemon. I remember drawing that in my notebook while we had like the teacher wasn't there. I think it was like we had a class and the teacher wasn't there. She was sick, so we just the substitute. Like, it was like a last minute thing. She got sick during the day and had to leave. So we literally just sat for 45 minutes. Like, we did not learn anything. We didn't do anything. The person who, like, monitored us was, like, another teacher who, I don't know why he was available, but he didn't have anything to teach us. He didn't know what to teach us. He knew nothing about it. So we all literally just sat there and talked, I think it was. And while everyone was chatting, I was drawing this Pokemon logo. And I drew it. And, they were all, like, picture this, like they were like three of them were, despite sitting in a row, they were all kind of like hunched together talking to each other about something, and I was kind of on the outside of it. I was talking, but I wasn't like involved physically in the conversation. And then one guy turns And he's like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, you know, just drawing. And he saw that I was drawing the Pokemon logo, and he's like, man, you're obsessed. I was like, what? Like, and that shattered my mold of the idea, right? Because up until that point, I thought everybody was still super hyped about Pokemon. But when he said that, and I started talking about it again, and he was like, yeah, man, I don't really care. I was like, wait, what? What are you talking about? This was like the biggest game ever. And like I said, I was in love with it, but yeah, people weren't. Like, it was really weird. So I don't know. Tell me about your experiences. What was your first game? I assume, you know, a lot of people now probably too young to even really remember Gen 1 when it came out. I am old enough to do so, but a lot of people I talk to, even, you know, contemporaries, like people who are like 3-4 years younger than me, they were too young. You know, they were like 8 at the time, so they don't remember it. And even I, you know, I was pretty young, 4th grade. I can barely remember much from 4th grade, but I do remember that. That was an impactful moment in my life, man. It really was, and it shaped my whole life. Honestly, it really has. I always thought, because of that, you know, I always thought it was a trend because of how my friends reacted to it at the time. But even then, I knew that I loved the concept. I loved the idea, and I loved the strategy behind the idea. Yeah, so that's that. Let's talk a little bit about what we've seen here on the recording. So I am playing Pokemon Yellow, all right, Pikachu Edition, on the like VBA or whatever. It's very easy. So what I've done here is I basically randomized the game. I assume you can tell that by now. But yeah, I've randomized the game. In parts that makes it much easier. Other parts it's just more interesting for me. And I'm doing like speed run strats, quote unquote. Basically like pretend I'm practicing to do a speed run. I'm not like resetting if I make a mistake, but I'm like using the strategies that a speedrunner would use, minus like the crazy DVs and, you know, that kind of manipulation. I'm just going to be picking the Pokemon I enjoy and playing through the game as fast as possible. And that's going to continue on. I'm going to play Gen 2 next. I'm going to play Gen 3, Gen 4, and Gen 5. I can't really play Gen 6 on camera, so I'm not really sure. If anyone has like a good solution to that, I'm not buying a capture card. That's not the solution. But if for some reason anyone has a good solution to how I could actually play Pokemon Y on YouTube, let me know. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm resigned to that not being an option. But then there, as you see, Brock has a Machop instead of a Geodude, which is the randomizer working, and then he's got a Lickitung. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But you know, once I played through this game again, I forgot, you know, just how basic it was. I played a lot of more difficult Pokemon games recently. And, you know, I think Pokemon Christmas, if you've seen that playthrough, you recognize that already. Like, there's really no challenge in these games. It's kind of funny looking back. And obviously that's just, the game was not, it's not the same game. Like, the things you've come to learn about challenge in Pokemon aren't evident in Pokemon Blue. They're not even present, let alone evident. So, there's really just overpowered and underpowered in this game. And, yeah, once you get the level advantage, you're coasting. So yeah, anyway, that's pretty much everything I have. So why don't you guys tell me what you've done, if you've like done anything for Pokemon Day. I don't even know what the big news is because I've recorded this like 4 days ahead. So yeah, let's celebrate that big news. I have a feeling it's either going to be a massive disappointment or some amazing ass news. And if it is, like, I don't know, man, I'm super hyped about that. I don't want to record too far ahead, but unfortunately, Saturday and Sunday I won't be around. So I definitely need to record at least a few days in advance. So I can't really discuss that. But either way, you guys feel free to discuss it. Tell me all about your memories with Pokemon. What was your first generation? We'll talk about why, you know, once I get to other generations, we'll talk about that a little bit more there. My experience with that generation. But as I know, Generation 1, all I remember is, you know, young, probably 13 years old, maybe even younger. I don't know, 4th grade, what would I be there? 12. I think that was like 1999. I don't even know when it came out. I guess earlier than that, but either way, yeah, man, it was the good old days, dude. Really, really, really good old days. So thanks for sharing in the nostalgia with me, guys. I'm telling you right now, man, everybody who watches these videos, you guys are awesome, man. I love it. You really make this fun. I love playing these games, and I love seeing you guys enjoy watching me play them or reacting or commenting. So let's have some fun with this, all right? This is going to be a very long series. Like I said, I'm going to play through every single generation all 5. And yeah, I imagine that's going to be like 60 some episodes. So hopefully we can keep it entertaining. And hopefully you guys are enjoying all your Pokemon Day and all the news and all that. So see you guys in the next episode. All right, that's going to be it for me. Next episode, we're going to do Mount Moon, I guess, and take on Misty, who's, always... I remember that. I have some things that I want to talk about in that episode, man.